around its neck. Remember how you're coming.
I'm named Pablo Kalėjimą. How much is a kilo of coke?
Kilo of cocaine if you're going to be trafficking, things like that.
Pavalgėm. Galim eiti į Turą. Fainas toks parkelis, ne? Čia mes vakarą praeidinėjom. Tai čia pilnas žmonės buvo, judesys bele koks. Dabar varom į meeting pointą, kur prasidės turas. Jau iš tikrųjų beveik atėjom.
Dabar mus pagrobs kažkas. Kur čia sėdam?
Kur norim.
Čia?
Jo.
Tik tai 4 žmonės?
Hoba.
Labai gera šiandien diena dar į turus, ne?
Any questions you have, not only about the tour, about anything, let me know. I've been guiding this kind of tours for the last 10 years. Traveling around the country a couple of times every year for the last 6 years. I am local, 37 years old. I have lots of information about things to do, places to visit, where to get things. Not only in Medellín, all over the country. I have some contacts. Let me know about anything. You can imagine the crazy questions I get doing these kind of tours, from where to get prostitutes to a price of cocaine. You can be asking me about anything. I'm not going to get offended by any questions, don't worry about that. Also, I'm not going to get drugs to anyone. Don't even ask me about that, not my job. I get that question almost every tour, kind of joking, kind of serious, but no. Okay. I'm going to explain what we are going to do in the tour. We're going to visit 4 locations, all of them in the south of the valley of Medellín. Of the war between the 2 cartels, located in the same place where the Monaco building used to be. Monaco building was Pablo Escobar's fortress for almost 10 years. Then we go to La Catedral. La Catedral is the prison Pablo built for himself. In the top of the mountain, in the south of the valley, we're going to see how the government is trying to give something back to the communities with all the properties they take away from the narcos. So La Catedral, what used to be his prison, is being used right now as a retirement home. We have access to the top part of the property. We're going to see the property from the top. We're going to see how the place was destroyed and rebuilt. We're going to see the trail Pablo took to escape. And then we go down into the city again. We are going to El Dorado football field, which is the largest public football field that he built for the people in the middle of the neighborhood where he grew up. And we go there to show you how was the beginning of the story. Then we go to the cemetery where he is buried with most of his closest family members and one of his employees.
How much is a kilo of coke?
Kilo of cocaine if you're going to be trafficking, things like that. Depending on how much you're willing to buy, it can be around 2,000 US dollars for a kilo,
2,000?
up to 10,000 US dollars. Which is basically nothing, because if you put that kilo inside the United States, maybe inside Europe, it can be more than 100,000.
70K, I heard. Depends.
Every time it changes hands, gets cut in half, and it doubles the price.
Crazy.
So usually by the time you get it into the United States, it's already 50 or 40% pure, and now it's 70,000.
Yeah.
So you're actually making 2 kilos out of one, and then putting them into the States. So now 70,000 times 2, it's 140.
Yeah. I see you know your stuff.
But Colombians never see cocaine. People think that when they come to Colombia, there is going to be cocaine everywhere, and everyone is doing cocaine, and it rains cocaine in the night. But the locals are so afraid of cocaine, they are never going to touch it. Most of the locals have never seen it.
So is it just the tourists that do it so?
Yep.
In Colombia? Not something random stuff.
Yeah, but for Colombia, cocaine means death. Cocaine means Pablo. They don't even know what it does, and they don't care.
There's a lot of problems associated with it, like.
Yep.
Yeah.
The problem is not people doing cocaine.
Yeah.
The problem here is the violence of the cocaine production and cocaine trafficking.
Yeah, makes sense.
Most of the Colombians, they don't know what cocaine does. They think that it's a hallucinogen drug that makes you see dancing pink elephants or something like that. They don't even know how close the effect of cocaine is to caffeine, coffee. They love coffee. Don't tell them.
Yeah.
They're going to get addicted if we tell them. 80% of the population, including child and elderly, are smoking weed pretty much every day. In Medellín, 80% of the population between 18 and 35 are using weed pretty much every day, at least 4 times a week.
So that they grow it here as well, is it?
And is
You are allowed to grow your own weed in your house without any kind of permission.
You're
You can
allowed?
have 20 plants.
your 20 plants you're allowed to have?
Yep.
Oh. And is there big gang violence like there used to be in the 80s and the 90s? No.
Not that much. There are some gangs, there are some dangerous areas. Have you done the graffiti tour?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that one they show you like the part 2 of the story, where the violence moved from the countryside into the city in the late 90s and early 2000s. Well, there are some places that can be dangerous, but it's a lot safer.
Yeah, it's not like it used to be.
No, no, no. No, you can feel it. Now you can travel by road, you can go pretty much everywhere in Colombia. There are a few towns where I will not suggest you to go.
Yeah.
But apart from that, you're not going to end up by accident in those towns. And out of the continent, they have to go through Peru or through Ecuador or through the south of Colombia. Shorter through Peru, shorter through Ecuador, cheaper, safer and easier through the south of Colombia, because the south of Colombia is a big Amazon jungle and it's still, most of it controlled by the guerrilla groups. So these guys...
Sorry, guerrilla groups?
Guerrilla
Okay.
groups, yeah. All 6 guerrilla groups started around 60 or 70 years ago. They started as legitimate groups fighting for the rights of the people in the countryside, some of them fighting for the rights of the students in public universities. But after the first few years, they ran out of money. They started working with the narcos to get money, and then they became the narcos.
Yeah.
Now, the 60% of the cocaine in the world being produced in Bolivia goes through Colombia, so 80% goes out of the south of Colombia.
Okay.
And that's why everyone thinks that Colombia is the biggest producer, but it's not. It's the biggest exporter.
Exporter, yeah.
Even with the feed of those years between bombs and bullets, we continue to find ourselves living and dreaming. We kept the hope alive in the future. So,
Čia paminėti visus žmonės, kurios nužudė Pablo Escobaro.
that was the most important newspaper at that time in Colombia, and also the fight for these ideals never ends. This was part of his last speech. After he was done with that, two guys emptied the magazines of automatic guns in his body. He died on the way to the house. He was trying to prove his point most of the time. First attack, 1984, the United States Embassy. Why he ended up bombing the US Embassy? That's one of the most stupid things that he did, especially to prove his point. Because he was taking this picture. You know this picture?
Yeah, the White House.
Exactly, that's Pablo with his son Juan Pablo right in front of the White House. When the US government saw this, they were angry. They removed his American visa and sent him back to Colombia. The thing is that at that time, no one was able to prove that he was into cocaine trafficking. Everyone knew that he was into something illegal, but they were not able to prove it. And it was also the first time when 7 Colombians went to prison to the United States for cocaine trafficking. For those 2 reasons, he bombed the only place that's technically U.S. territory in Colombia, the U.S. Embassy.
That's stupid.
That's so stupid, yeah. That's plain stupidity. Taking the biggest player on that game to your field, that's stupid.
Yeah.
The plan was to move it from this bank to another, then to another, then to another, then to another, until you can't tell where the money is coming from. So it's kind of clean. And this was before the internet came to Latin America. So everything was made by hand and telephone, and everything took a lot longer. But he pushed it way too far. He went with more than $25 million in cash, in bags, to this very small bank, Banco Cafetero. Banco Cafetero supports the coffee growers in Colombia. And they told him, again, if you can't show us where all that cash is coming from, we can't take it.
Yeah.
He took his money away, and the next day he bombed. Look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 of the same bank in one day in Medellín. The same day, also in Medellín, the Colombian National Bank, the Colombia State Bank. That's 9 official banks in one day. Can you imagine that? Bomb, 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 bomb. The entire city was getting bombed. He was not even stealing money from these banks. He was showing them plata or plomo. You know what it refers to?
Silver or lead.
Silver or lead is the literal translation. It can be translated closer to something like this: money or bullets.
Yeah.
Meaning, are you with me, you're going to get a lot of cash, or are you against me and you're going to get a lot of shots? So, you want to get rich or you want to get shot? The pistol plan, which is basically an open offer for anyone who could kill a police officer, gets 1 million pesos. If you killed a member of the elite force of the police, a small group formed just to find and kill Pablo, called the bloque de búsqueda, the search block, then you got twice as much, 2 million pesos. Right now it's $500. But at that time, it was the salary of 2 years. People were willing to kill for that amount of money. Even police officers were selling the information of how to find their friends to get money. A police bus, which is 50 police officers in one bomb. Someone got around 50 million pesos for that, which is a ton of money for a Colombian even today. This right here is the Avianca plane where the president was supposed to be. 112 persons were inside the plane. The president was not even in the airport. Some people say that the president was warned about that attack. The guy that was president at that time, Gaviria, keeps saying, even today, he was never warned about the attack. He was just late for the airport, which is not what's important. What's important is that 112 innocent persons were inside that plane. That's what's important.
Yeah. I was listening to, and one thing in my mind was I was just thinking like that's
Terrorism.
pure, like it's terrorist, like.
Pure, exactly. That's terrorism.
Yeah.
And it keeps going. Police vehicle, police control point, another police vehicle, and now look at this. El Campestre building, which is that one, the white building behind the trees. At that time, that was the tallest building in this area. Pablo had no interest or business with that building, but look at the name, El Campestre. Recognize it?
No.
The same name of the country club, the same owners of the country club. So it was just to show them plata or plomo. Now, for a completely different reason, not related with Pablo anymore, everyone in Colombia wants to bomb that building. Anyone guess why? Any wild guesses? It's always money. Tons of money, because that is where the tax office operates for the entire country, but that's a different story for a different time.
I think every country wants to bomb that building. Nobody likes that tax office building.
Of course.
How many years was Pablo, like, since he started until he died? How many years it took?
The first few years he was not that big, so let's say that maybe around 30 years. That's
30
when he
years.
was pretty big.
That's a lot.
Oh, that's, yeah. But to get to my house is pretty sketchy. You have to walk all the way up there. I love the Onion Motmot equatorial stage in the area around its nest. We know the location of some nest, so we're going to be looking for it. If we...
Ieškosim paukščio, ieškosim dar geriau.
Remember, have your cameras ready. We are looking for birds.
Potom čia virš straukų jau. Mano šaika, žiūri, sveikinas.
In a couple of minutes, there is going to be another view on this side, but I will tell you when.
Okay.
And strong energy drinks.
And is it actually stronger than Red Bull?
Oh, wait. It has the same amount of caffeine, the same amount of sugar, the same amount of taurine.
Dabar varom link Pablo kalėjimo.
After this storm, it was impossible catching him. For more than 12 years, the police was following him. When they were about to catch him, he disappears right in front of them. He was able to enter any house, any building, any store, any place in Colombia and say, I'm Pablo Escobar, I'm going to hide in your house. I'm Pablo Escobar, I'm going to escape through the back door. Everyone was willing to help him. I'm going to build my own safe place. When he was already halfway in the construction of this, he told the government, I can go to prison, but we're going to do it under my conditions. First, we're going to stop extradition. So now they can't take him out of the country. Second, this was his room. And I know it doesn't look like a crazy, super luxurious place, but it's supposed to be a cell.
Yeah.
And these are books, but behind that, that's money.
Stacks of it.
Yeah, and US dollars.
Stacks though. Jesus Christ.
His office, again, it doesn't look like crazy, but he had an office inside his cell. He was still running his criminal empire from here. You see the tower in the corner of the property? That tower. The only way to get here faster than in a car is in a helicopter. The only picture we have of Pablo in La Catedral. And you have to trust me in this one because that's Pablo. I actually have a zoom version of that. Look at that. That's Pablo with his brother Roberto Escobar.
Tai vienu žodžiu turėjo ir klubą, ir visokiausius ofisuose čia buvo. Kročiu, viskas čia buvo. Po šitų kalėjimų ir tuneliai visokiausi yra ir viskas. A ne, Kamilė?
Sí, claro.
Tuneliai jis pro ten kažkaip pabėgo paskui.
Sakė, kad netuneliais tiesiog prie buvo mentas. Karoči, čia jis leido 2 mentus, kad būtų be ginklų ir be radijo.
Kilometrų atstumu.
Jis iš apačios pasakė, kad tartoje paimentai ir sako, rodo per narkos, kad ten bėga per visokius tunelius. Jis tiesiog atėjo mentai, pasakė, aš išeinu.
Jisai tiesiog atėjo su 10 bachūrų, su ginklais ir sako, aš išeinu. Ir jie nei žodžio.
Ką jis padarys?
Paprašė sėdėti kalėjime vien tik dėl to, kad laikytų jį vienoj vietoj. Galvojo padės. Bet paskui jisai pradėjo kalėjime deginti žmonės, kurie vogė iš jo. Kadangi kalėjimas yra ant pačio kalno, vidury nakties pradėjo deginti žmonės. Žmonės, visas miestas pamatė, kad, sako, ką jisai ten daro. Ir tada Amerikos vėl valdžia sugrįžo, sako, klausyk, kažką reikia su juo daryti. Ir tada bandė jį suimti, bet jis pabėgo.
Not like I'm proud of that, but it is.
Unless you get some techno remix, then maybe.
Yeah. Everyone.
She's Colombian as well.
Medellín, do the same. He ended up building almost 100 of these in the entire country.
Pastatė žmonėms šitą futbolo pičą. Aikštę šitą. Tai jisai šitus apartamentus išdalino žmonėm ir paskui, aišku, reikalavo iš jų pagalbos, kai reikėjo. Ir nupirko net po kelias mašinas, kad šeima turėjo to pinigų užsidirbti pragyvenimui ir panašiai. Čia skaitosi jų tipo kaip šustresnis rajonas. Parodyk tos namelius. 100 tūkstančių eurų. Arba dolerių.
Labai daug shopping centrų vienas prie kito. Sako, žinot kodėl? Sako, nes net nemėgstam eiti jos. Sakom, ne. Sako, dėl to, kad pinigus plaut. Sako, net jie nieko nepaduoda, bet sako, niekada nebūna nei bankrotą neįeina, nes tiesiog reikia pinigus plaut.
Normaliai. Čia kitaip karteliai sukas. Plauna šaibas.
Mind your head.
Nu ką, varom žiūrėti jo kapą.
Ir Grizeldos. Dabar jau man įdomiau Grizeldos kapas.
Sakė, ir Grizeldos bus?
Serialą Grizeldos.
Well, the largest and most expensive cemetery in the city.
Pačios brangiausios kapinės
For
miestas.
the first 10 to 25 years, depending how much they paid. After that, if you find...
Jie čia dėžutėse sulaidoti.
Palaidotas. Turi susimokėti 10 metų į priekį ir kas 10 metų turi mokėti.
Kad čia būtų palaidotas.
Nes yra pačios brangiausios, o jeigu neturi pinigų, tai va į šiukšlelę dėžutę. Į locker roomą būni palaidotas. Ir jie po 10 metų, jeigu sako, tu nesusimokė, jie tave iškasa ir į dėžutę.
His closest family members and one of his employees. The 3 big ones, Pablo, his mother, and his father are buried in full body. The smaller ones, just the remains, the ashes inside. First one on the left, Pablo. He died December 2, 1993. One day, after his 44th birthday, right next to him, Luis Fernando, his younger brother, died in a car accident in a vehicle that Pablo gave to him as a birthday gift. He was driving in the night. The police tried to stop him. He started running away from the police. There was a police chase. He ended up having an accident, died. Teresa. Teresa is the nana or the nanny. The person that helps your mother to take care of you when you're a kid is considered the second mother for the Colombian culture. That's why she's buried there right next to Pablo's mother. In the center of any Colombian family, you're always going to find the mother. The mother is the most important thing for a Colombian. The mother always goes center. In any situation, not only in the grave, that's Pablo's mother with her sister and niece. The two smaller ones higher than the mother. Sister Inés Ofelia was the owner of the house where Pablo got shot. That guy, Álvaro de Jesús Agudelo, is known as Limón. The guy that started as a taxi driver for Pablo eventually became one of Pablo's closest friends, most trusted employees. They were together when Pablo got killed. Limón was the bodyguard of Pablo that day. Limón died by going to the entrance of the house, trying to stop the police from going into the house where Pablo was. That's how Limón got shot. Herminda, Pablo's mother, decided that the guy that gave his life trying to protect her son could be buried here with the family as well. It's an honor for Limón to be here. Juan Manuel, father's brother, Manuel de Jesus, father.
Do you think his wife and kids will be buried here?
If they want to, they can. This is for 20 persons, and right now there is only
2, 4, 6,
maybe 9 or 11.
8,
9. So yeah, there is a room for 11 more. If they want to, they can be buried here. I bet they want to.
Is his wife married?
Last year, coming from Hacienda Nápoles, his biggest and favorite property, where he had the dinosaurs, the zoo with African animals and hippos and all that, and Pablo gets most of the attention. She was a crazy guy, showing his face in public TV, threatening the president. He was like the public face, the public figure of the Medellín cartel. But the real brain of the operation, the real leader of the Medellín cartel was?
Not Pablo?
Not Pablo. Pablo was a public figure, the public face of the Medellín cartel, the crazy guy willing to go on public TV to show his face on the newspapers and all that.
So
but there was a guy in charge of the money. And when you're in charge of the money, you're in charge of everything and everyone.
So that was?
Gustavo, his cousin.
His
Gustavo
cousin.
was in charge of the money. When
Gustavo.
you're in charge of the money, you're in charge of everything and everyone. Gustavo, the real brain of the operation, the real leader of the Medellín cartel. A visit, cover her story pretty quick, then we can finish.
Jinai Grizelda, jinai yra tikroji, sako, čia visi buvo, jinai be žinių, be kokio garso, be tiesiog tyliai dirbo, jinai buvo tikra, buvo tyliai dirbo ir jinai
Tai buvo aukščiau visų šitų Pablo ir panašiai.
Jinai baronų narkos kiek yra buvus ir jinai apmokė Pablo dar. Na, karočią, visą laiką, jisai sako irgi.
Pablo sugebėjo bėgioti 502 dienas nuo policijos, nuo Amerikos pareigūnų ir taip toliau. Ir pagaliau, kai jį pagavo, nušovė vienam iš butų, jis bandė pabėgti ant stogo užsilipęs ir jį pašovė pareigūnai ir numirė. Prieinam tikrą hefą.
First, as you can see, it's not that spectacular, especially for someone that had a lot more money and a lot more power than Pablo. We're going to cover her story pretty quick. Her story starts kind of similar to Pablo's. When she was 5 years old, her family came from Cartagena, Colombia, looking for better opportunities to Medellín. First thing they did, selling her to two guys that kept her captive in the worst neighborhood of Medellín at that time, Barrio Antioquia, forcing her to be a prostitute as a kid. When she was 11, only 11 years old, she was able to steal a knife, and with the knife, she killed the two guys, escaped. And we don't know what she was doing for the first part of her criminal career. Eventually, she became the link between Colombians, Peruvians, Ecuadorians producing cocaine and Mexicans taking it into the States. She invented two things here in Colombia, which is cocaine trafficking as we know it, when she noticed that she was also the first one doing killings by sicarios. Remember sicarios? Two guys, one motorcycle killing someone escaping through traffic. Not like she invented hitmen. She was the first one doing it like that in Colombia.
Yeah, because he thought
the last one was a boyfriend and also good.
Tai karočią vienu žodžiu, Griselda, ta, kur mumis nuvedė parodyti, jinai buvo vos ne kaip viršininkė Kali ir Medellíne kartelių.
Tai žodžiu, nežinau, ar esat matę serialą Griselda su Sofija Vergara. Bet žodžiu, jau tada atrodo šūsliai, bet dabar kai papasakoju apie ją, tai pasirodo, jinai 20 metų buvo prieš Pablo ir dar 19 metų po Pablo. Jinai yra ilgiausiai buvusi kartelė bosė, kokia tik tai buvo. Tikriausiai vienintelė moteris. Ir jinai apmokino Pablo, kaip sakė gidas. Pablo net nežinojo, ką reiškia trafik, kaip tokių dar sako mokymų, kai jinai jau dirbo. Ir viską jau valdė. Ir tol, kol visi Kali, ten tie karteliai, kol Pablo Escobaro ten viską bombardavo, buvo visi apie juos žinojo, visa valdžia, visi žmonės. Jinai viską dirbo tyliai, prie nieko nelindo ir sakė, apie ją nėra istorijos, iš kur jinai kilus, kokia šeima, kaip kas. Ir aš sakau, jos serialas buvo trumpas, sako, dėl to, nes labai daug yra kepų jose istorijose, sako, mes nežinom iš vis apie ją. Ir sakė, kad pagal viską, jinai buvo daug turtingesnė nei Pablo ir daug žiauresnė. Tik tai, kad visai...
Ir nei Kali. Karteliai.
Nei Kali karteliai, nei Pablo. Bet esmė tame, kad jie kaip ir viską darė garsiai rėkia, o jinai viską tyliai, bet jinai buvo dar žiauresnė. Jinai buvo į kalėjimą Amerikai pasadinta ne dėl visų šitų narkotiko biznio, o dėl to, nes nemokėjo taksų, nes nieks nenorėjo mokėti taksą. Jie ją paleido ir nušovė. Ir kaip tipo irgi nežino kaip kas dėl ko, bet tipo sako, kad buvo pažįstamas.
Jinai labai daug turėjo priešų.
Priešų, tai dėl to ją bet kas galėjo užversti realiai.
Mes dabar pavalgyt vištienos ir eisim jaučiu ką pačilint pas save viešbutį. Ir rytoj laukia labai ilga kelionė į... Kur?
Guatapé.
Į Guatapé.
Visos dienos.
Visos dienos turas.
100.
Viena koja kiek?
4500, tai 1 euras.
Neblogai. Na, šį kartą stengiamės nenusilaužt dantų valgydami vištą, kaip man buvo Filipinuose. Bet nebloga vištytė, gera, sultinga, visko.
O kaip tas skaniai to padaro?
Neblogai. Tau nepatiks, nes sūrų.
O mano salserė varys pašokti, jau apšilimą daro. Nu jau basic va išmoko. Jisai šoka on 1, aš moku on 2, bet ir on 1 moku, bet čia mokina vis laik on 1.
Tai, kas čia yra? Nieko nėra. Nu viskas, po kokteiliuką ir bus vakaras užrištas. Rytoj Guatapé.